Caroline Warmis. Caroline Warmis was a former teacher in Westchester County, New York. Her case became one of the most famous murder trials in the early 90s and grabbed widespread media attention because of the shocking details of the crime, earning her a notorious nickname, the Deadly Seductress, named after a 1987 film about obsession and revenge. Warmis graduated from Columbia Teachers College and worked as a teacher at Edgemont Elementary School. In the late 80s, she started an affair with Paul Solomon, a married fellow teacher with a young daughter. Their relationship quickly became intense, but also increasingly strained because Paul was reluctant to leave his wife, Betty Jean Solomon. On January 15, 1989, Betty Jean was found murdered in the family home in Greenburgh. She had been shot 9 times in the back and head. The brutality of the killing pointed to a crime of passion. Paul Solomon was the one who initially discovered her body. They treated her like an interesting person, but suspicions quickly turned to Caroline Warmis. The investigators started piecing together the timeline. On the day of the murder, Warmis was seen acting nervously. She had no alibi for the crucial hours. A key piece of evidence came up when the police found out that Warmis had bought a .25 caliber gun and 2.5 caliber guns through a friend, the same type of weapon used in the murder. Even more damaging was a receipt for a pair of gloves purchased on the day of the murder from a local shop near the crime scene. During the investigation, it was revealed that Warmis had made phone calls and left messages for Paul Solomon before and after the crime. Even though there were no eyewitnesses placing her at the scene, the circumstantial evidence started piling up. Warmis was arrested and charged with second-degree murder and criminal possession of a weapon. Her first trial in 1991 ended with a hung jury, but later that year, in a second trial, she was found guilty on both counts. She was sentenced to 25 years to life in prison. Warmis maintained her innocence throughout her time behind bars. Over the years, she filed multiple appeals and also appeared in the media claiming that Paul Solomon should have been investigated up close. However, none of her legal efforts succeeded in overturning the conviction. She served her sentence at the Bedford Hills Correctional Facility for Women in New York and was released on parole in June 2019 after spending 27 years incarcerated. Her case remains one of the most controversial true crime stories involving a teacher. Even after her release, the public perception of her guilt and the buzz around the case continue to follow her. For teachers, criminologists, and researchers, Caroline Warmis's case is often studied not just for the crime itself, but also for the power dynamics in personal relationships and the emotional twists that can lead to such events, to tragic outcomes, and how media portrayal can shape public perception of guilt even before a verdict is reached. Nancy Seaman. Nancy Seaman was a 52-year-old elementary school teacher at Longacre Elementary in Farmington Hills, Michigan. She was known for her dedication to teaching and was recognized for her commitment to her students and profession. However, in 2004, her life took a drastic turn when she was arrested and later convicted of killing her husband, Robert Seaman. On May 10, 2004, Nancy Seaman called 911 to report finding. Her husband was found dead in their garage. When the police arrived, they discovered Robert. Seaman's body had multiple injuries, which immediately raised suspicions. Nancy was taken in for questioning. During the investigation, It came out that Nancy had bought an axe and a shovel from a local hardware store shortly before the incident. Surveillance footage and receipts confirmed these purchases. Additionally, evidence showed she tried to clean up the crime scene, including washing bloodstained clothes and scrubbing the garage floor. Nancy claimed she acted in self-defense after years of domestic abuse, saying that the argument that day escalated and she feared for her life. However, the prosecution argued otherwise. The killing was intentional, pointing to recent purchases and the nature of the 2005 attack. Nancy Seaman was convicted of first-degree murder, which carries a mandatory life sentence without parole in Michigan, and she was sentenced accordingly. She is currently imprisoned at the Huron Valley Correctional Facility for Women. The case received a lot of media attention and sparked discussions about domestic violence and the legal systems handling such claims. The defense team in New York argued that her actions were the result of battered woman syndrome, a psychological condition that can develop in victims. Nancy Seaman's case involved long-term domestic violence. Despite the arguments she made, the court upheld her conviction. Over the years, Nancy filed several appeals to maintain her self-defense claim. In 2010, a federal judge overturned her conviction, pointing out ineffective legal assistance. However, this decision was later reversed by the Sixth Circuit Court of Appeals, which reinstated her original conviction. Nancy Seaman's case remains a hot topic among legal experts and advocates for domestic violence survivors. It highlights the complexities of the legal system when dealing with self-defense claims. In the context of the alleged long-term abuse, her story serves as a powerful example of how personal and legal narratives intersect in the courtroom.